Calgary Flames were eliminated on April the 7th. The expectations for them, Neil, was pretty low because they had done very little in terms of tinkering their lineup during the 2025 offseason. And this despite getting very close to making the playoffs last year before finally being eliminated during the last weekend. The reality for the Flames season: one of the best home teams in the NHL, one of the worst road teams in the NHL, but probably the biggest sticking point, among the lowest goals scored per game in the NHL. Jonathan Huberdeau, only 194 points in 291 games in 4 seasons for Calgary. He shut himself down well before the season ended. But one piece of promise here was Devon Cooley emerging as a pretty reliable backup in goal to Dustin Wolf after Dan Vladar went to Philadelphia.
That was a positive. And just to illustrate your point about Calgary Flames and their lack of goal scoring, they're among the lowest scoring teams in the entire league, down with teams like Vancouver and Chicago. So it's really tough to win games when you don't hit the back of the net. They're going to have to find a way to increase their goals for if they're going to move up next season.
Here's the good news as we look ahead to the future of the Calgary Flames. They have a lot of cap space. They have 11 picks in the 2026 draft, 8 in the first 3 rounds. They have 2 in the first, 4 in the second. They own their own, and they also get 3 others as part of the Mackenzie Weegar trade. They also have 2 in the third, their own, and a pick that they got from Vancouver in the Nikita Zadorov trade, who has now been in Boston for a couple of seasons. They also have 2 picks in both the first and second rounds of the 2027 and 2028 drafts. And they have a new building that will be opening up the year after next. So a lot of good things potentially for the Flames here as Craig Conroy looks to build this team up. There's a lot of asset that they have to work with here.
Yep. And when you mention Craig Conroy, he might be one lucky guy that he's in Calgary because the Flames have not produced much under Conroy's general managing. But it looks like they're going to continue with him and Don Maloney as the president of hockey ops, and there's nowhere to go but up. And perhaps what they're trying to do is build towards the opening of that new building and be a good team by the time that new building opens so that they can create the revenue base in that new building.
UFAs Ryan Lomberg and Victor Olofsson, both forwards, and defenseman Jake Bean, and their RFA is John Beecher. And as I had mentioned before, a lot of cap space. $9.6 million is projected as of the end of the regular season. So you take those draft picks, you take your cap space. If you can attract some free agents into Calgary and use those picks for either selections or to trade, you can get this team back on track pretty quickly.
There's no doubt about it. You can. In the National Hockey League today, I mean, look at what we've been talking about all season. We're talking about teams that suddenly have turned a corner. Calgary can do the same thing. But as we said, there's a lot of right decisions to be made, and there's a lot of work to be done.